Patrick, let's talk about the Pak-US relations. Let's suppose if the Democratic campaigner, Mr. Senator Obama, wins the American election and becomes the first ever black American president in the history of US, do you think it will affect positively the Pak-US relationship, or will it be having some other sort of an effect?
I think that they would definitely change, but there's a couple of variables, and it's hard to predict the future that way. Number one, the government of Pakistan has just recently changed, and the new government doesn't have a very long track record. So we don't know what direction the new government wants to go. However, based on the past government, obviously that regime seemed to be pro-U.S. This one, we don't know if it'll be pro-U.S. But if it's pro-Muslim and pro its people, as Obama seems to be, I think Obama would have the stance that if a government is truly trying to take care of its people and not aggressively, then it would be something that we would support. On the other hand, we have a war raging in Afghanistan in which we're taking 4 times the amount of casualties, and it costs almost 10 times the amount to supply. We've got a problem, because I still haven't heard from either candidate what is our objective in Afghanistan. I think the key to the next president or to our economy is what are we going to do in Afghanistan. That being said, Pakistan is key for the United States to accomplish its mission in Afghanistan, and that mainly being the supply chain. If Pakistan is not pro-U.S., or at least helpful to us in the sense that we can transport supplies, troops, material to our troops in Afghanistan, and we have to rely on Russia, that puts us in a very, very difficult position. If Pakistan were to be compliant, if you will, with certain regulations we may have in transporting our material back and forth in terms of airspace, then I think that no matter which president wins, Pakistan is going to be seen in a good light. On the other hand, I know that the defense of Pakistan has been a concern for Pakistan, and you have your enemies in Afghanistan as we do, and enemies in India as we do. But you have an outdated Air Force, and I think the focus, for Pakistan is which president is going to allow the upgrade of the current F-16s that you have now versus just rebuilding a new aircraft of Chinese design. Who is going to allow that, and who's going to be Chinese friendly? I think that Obama, being a Muslim, I think he would look at Pakistan more as an ally than a threat, understanding Islam. Senator McCain, I think he's just going to look at it geographically and strategically as how far can my missiles hit if I was positioned in Pakistan versus if I was positioned in, say, Iraq. It's just a geographic. Pakistan would have no real meaning. To Obama, I think Pakistan would have a significant meaning in that Pakistan has 2 great resources. One is its land in terms of agriculture, and 2 is its brain power. In my field, in medicine, some of the greatest physicians that we have, especially pulmonologists, come from Pakistan. So there are 2 resources there that are desperately in need in any nation. And so I think Obama would be more willing to assist those entities in growing. It might be more advantageous to someone like Obama with a Muslim background.
Patrick, Obama always talks about bringing in some change, and when we spoke to Peggy, she had no idea about what sort of a change he's talking about. But let's suppose he brings in some change. What sort of a change would it be? Will it actually help the American public, the people of USA?
I think the main thing that it's going to do is by electing somebody like him, it's an admission of the American people that we are ready for change, number one. And I think that's important in any type of change because it's going to be difficult. 2, although he's claiming to have to raise taxes, the reality is some change needs to be made, and I'm willing to increase taxes. I'm willing to pay more if we can get more. That I don't mind. 3, specifically in terms of Medicare or medical aid, right now a majority of the people are not covered by any type of medical insurance. And in the medical field, what ends up happening is the physicians and the hospitals end up paying. So most doctors will get paid about 40% of the time and that's what people would be considered good insurance. The rest just don't have insurance. So the 40% of the people pay for the other 60% right now, and so they pay enormously high premiums, and so for the other people to be seen. Now, ethically, we cannot turn away anybody for medical care. So what people don't realize is that there already is socialized medicine. It's just those with money are paying an enormous cost, and those without money are not paying any. I think with Obama, he's saying that we should allow people to have government insurance, which I agree, because they have it anyway. But he's saying that it should be regulated to the point where they can pay a little more for certain services, and they can offer more services without everything just going haywire, if you will. Right now, it's all emergency services for things like colds and allergies, and these are not emergent conditions, and they clog up the emergency rooms. So I think that the major change that's going to happen is that he's going to offer people the opportunity to become more healthy. And I think if he can do that, if you have children, your number one priority, of course, is for them to be healthy and safe. And anyone who can do that and is willing to take the heat to do that, in my book, that's a good candidate. So the main change he's bringing about is he's saying, take care of ourselves, but also we need to take care of our allies and those that we can outside. But the message he's bringing is that it's going to cost financially. And just because there's depression doesn't mean that we don't have money. It just means that people are not spending the way they were. So it's, we have a saying in English, there's time to pay the piper. And I think that time has come, and a vast majority of us are willing to pay. It's just we want it to be beneficial to our children, and we don't want to be seen as in a negative light around the world any longer. And I think Obama does that best.